As promised, our second Cowboys Report video of the day. We're going to break down the latest on the Micah Parsons contract, one of several things Stephen Jones spoke about today. And again, we're doing the Travis Hunter trade-up conversation, not because of an idea, but because of a report from The Athletic about the Cowboys' interest there, so stay tuned for that. I am officially awarding ourselves as the winners of the March sub battle against the Commanders. I think our lead is too big. If it looks stupid, so be it. I want to catch the Raiders, though. Now, we're down by about 150. I'll round for that number there. I think we can catch them. Or I mean 250, because math is hard for me sometimes. Hit that sub button if you haven't already at youtube.com/CowboysTV. There will be hundreds of people watching today's video who are not subscribed. If you're one of them, hit that sub button and get more free Cowboys videos as well. So first, let's begin with the Dallas Morning News report on Micah Parsons, stating that he is looking for a $200 million extension, which we'll get into and why that shouldn't actually be that shocking of a figure here. But of note, here's what Calvin Watkins of DMN wrote about the contract talks. This Parsons' agent, David Mulugheta, and members of the Cowboys front office held preliminary discussions about a contract at the NFL Combine in late February. However, no serious talks have occurred since. But a person with knowledge of the discussions told DMN that Jerry Jones had extensive talks with Parsons about his contract. Now, Stephen Jones, today, among several things, we'll spend more time on the other stuff tomorrow for our live show, he confirmed that as well, saying that they have had talks kind of on the side with Micah. Said, quote, "We've had visits with Micah, Jerry and I have. We feel good about that. Some guys want to visit, and some guys don't want to visit about their money. We respect both ways. But if players want to come in and talk to us, we got an open door policy, whether it's Jerry or myself. Micah likes to visit, so that's a good thing." What the Cowboys are doing here is trying to bypass the agent, which, again, this is stuff we've mentioned on previous shows at least. When it works, if it works, you can sometimes get a deal done early, oftentimes at a cheaper cost. If it doesn't, you end up with an upset agent who's like, this is my job. Why are you trying to cut me out and try to kind of underplay the deal with the player himself? Look, in the end, Parsons and his camp hold the leverage here. They are the ones that have the leverage in contract talks. It's only going to go up. The price will only get more expensive. Stephen Jones, again, showing a lack of urgency with his comments, other stuff he mentioned. They don't work with urgency. It is the Cowboys' job to try to get things done, because otherwise the player can wait until August and still get paid, because the Cowboys always cave. Maybe try to work with a little bit more urgency for one time. This is where Dallas struggles, where they know what the market's going to be. We'll talk about that here more in depth in a little bit. But they just don't operate with urgency. They don't view holdouts as a negative thing, even though it is, very clearly. I still have full confidence this deal gets done. When it gets done, look, I think the Cowboys' track record more or less speaks for itself. That their track record is not particularly strong about getting deals done on time. It's just not how they operate, for better and more oftentimes for worse. So I want you guys to predict the date that Micah Parsons gets signed, or I guess gets traded if you don't think it's going to happen. It's the pinned comments on today's video, so if the ad comes here on the YouTube side, great, take advantage of it. Head down there and let me know. Some key dates for the Cowboys. They can start voluntary workouts on April 7th. They have a new head coach. That is the early start date for them. The draft begins April 4th. At some point in May, they should have organized team activities. TBD on what days those end up looking like and the exact dates there. June, they should have their mini camp. Should kind of be more early June. Again, still no official announced dates there. Late July, training camp will begin. Once you get to mandatory mini camp, to mandatory OTAs, that is when you are in holdout range. So keeping those dates in mind and what you predicted in the comments, you can also get in on our Micah decision pool. You can pick the date that Micah signs or gets traded. You can go to chatsports.com/Micah to see any entries. There are several in there already. And if you want in, simply Venmo me at WhatGoingDowney, $5 to enter the Micah decision pool. We'll do a 50-50 split the pot for the winner. Now look, I would like to avoid another holdout, but I do think a holdout is in play because we just saw it happen last year with CeeDee Lamb, and the Cowboys kind of taking a very similar approach with how they're handling the Micah contract talks, where, yeah, cool, the player and the owner spoke, but if you're not making progress with the agent side of it, you're not really getting things going there. Are you really making progress? Just pick up the phone and call them. It could be done in a day. At most, it's all it would take. we'll get to the money stuff here. We will in a minute break down what that deal could and I think probably will end up looking like as more leaves continue to fall. TJ Watt's kind of the main one that's out there at the moment, maybe at 800 as well. But do you think Micah Parsons holds out from the Cowboys? Not even training camp, but just mandatory minicamp and stuff like that. When it's mandatory to be there and fines could potentially accrue. Why for yes and for no? Go vote in the comments of today's show. Now, of note, the Dallas Morning News did not mention the years of what the $200 million contract could look like. It would be a 5-year deal, is what the price point would be. They're not doing 4 years at $200 million. They're not. I really don't believe that this contract is actually that hard to do. It is going to be record-setting. That's where we are. You don't have David Mulugheta as your agent if you're not looking to get a massive bag. You're not. Hell, I think if Micah didn't have an agent, he'll probably be done already. But you hire Mulugheta to get you the most money, or at least near the most money. So, 5-year deal, record-setting average per year figure, and record-setting guaranteed money could look like this. 5 years, $40.5 million per year. 125 would be record-setting guarantee. Boom, you're at 202.5. Now, if you want to expand the average per year, as if it's a 4-year deal, that normally begins to enter the range of it's about $2 million more per year. So then your total money becomes more like 212.5. And then the guaranteed money, if you want to keep the same percentage of the guarantees on a 5-year compared to a 4-year, then you're in the ballpark of 165. Now, I'm kind of rounding off some numbers there. I do want to make that very clear that it's kind of a bit loosey-goosey. But that's like your general ballpark. Anywhere from 40.5 to 42.5. Big range of the guaranteed money, and maybe you drop the average per year a little bit if you boost the guaranteed a little bit as well. You've got some flexibility in there. The negotiation parts of the deal. But one of these, somewhere in this ballpark, is probably what Micah Parsons ends up getting. Again, it's not a hard deal to do. It's just expensive because you waited. Now, the NFL has dropped the Cowboys draft hats for 2025. Most of them having that little America's team icon on it. Other ones don't. Not all of them have, by the way. So if you're not a fan of that, you don't have to get it. Black, kind of the lighter black as well, a tactical neck black, if you will. Hoodies also an option for this year's NFL draft gear. The hats are normally what are available this time, but they've added hoodies and a t-shirt too. Get yours today, chatsports.com/CowboysDraft. Link will be in the comments section and the description of today's show. We are once again, and I kind of don't want to, but we talk about what people are talking about. Travis Hunter, once again being linked to the Cowboys in a possible trade-up thanks to Dianni Russini. Here's what Dianna said on her podcast. It's that time of the year when you're starting to hear about different teams that are hot and certain guys where they're calling to see if they can move up. I've heard Jerry really likes Travis Hunter. So that's a very Dallas Cowboy move. Just because they like him doesn't mean they're going to do it, but you never know. I've got two main things to discuss here, most of which we mentioned on the first Travis Hunter video. It's a little bit different when Russini starts to attach, like, not just idea, but, like, reports behind it there. Before we get to that, what is the percent chance that you think the Cowboys actually trade up for Travis Hunter? Let me know in the comments section of today's show. There are two claims that Russini had in her report. The first of which, Jerry Jones likes Travis Hunter a lot. He's infatuated, blah, blah, blah. Of course this is true. No duh, Jerry Jones loves Travis Hunter. He's the consensus number one player in the draft. If you look at the consensus big boards, he's pretty much top two for everybody. Water is wet. The sun rises most days. What are we talking about here? This is how everyone feels about him. Everyone loves Travis Hunter. Howie Roseman loves Travis Hunter. The Chiefs love Travis Hunter. Everybody loves a guy that is a consensus number one or number two player on the board. This is no different than when, Jerry loves Kyle Pitts. Didn't trade up there. You know why? Because claim number two is that this is a very Cowboys move. Here's the thing. No, it's not. This is actually not true at all. Maybe my dad's Cowboys, your dad's Cowboys, your granddad's Cowboys, not this Cowboys team. They don't make splashes anymore, especially not in the draft. When was the last Cowboys draft splash? When was the last time they did the Jerry wants to make a splash. It was 2012. The Morse Claiborne trade up. That is how long it has been. They haven't moved up in day 2. It's like 2014. They traded up for DeMarcus Lawrence. They don't do this anymore. I am tired of seeing some variation of Jerry wants to make a splash because they don't do it anymore. Jerry wants to find his next Deion Sanders. Guys, that was 30 years ago. I was like 2. Like this isn't how it works in Dallas anymore. We can't keep calling back to but in '95, this century they don't do that anymore. That's not how they operate. We have to stop pretending like they do. And by the way, if you could get up, let's say you got to get the 2, which is very expensive, but like I think that the main realistic, in air quotes, path is, the Patriots and Jags pass on him. You can get to 4 or 5. Why would they not just take him? Those teams need a player like Travis Hunter. Why would they not take the best or second best player on their board? Like, we'll go over the trade costs here, but it's probably in line in general with the Will Anderson trade, not what your draft sims are telling you. I love the draft sims. Man, their draft pick trade ideas are normally pretty bad. Like, they're normally really bad. But, like, a 3rd and a 4, 105, for a 1, a 2, a 1 that a lot of people thought was going to be an early round pick, and a future 3. Now, that's even more expensive if you want to go from 2 or to 2 from 12. You're probably in the ballpark of 2 1s, a 2, and a 3 if you want to jump up to number 2 overall. That's a lot. I'm not giving up that. Hunter fills 2 needs. You're no draft picks this year, and you're down your best pick next year. Also, you can't draft with the 2 next year anyway. Maybe you get to 4 with the Patriots. That's probably going to be at least your 1 and your 2. You're probably going to have to go down and do a future pick. It's a little bit cheaper if you get to the 5th because every pick you up is higher. But, like, you get to 4, because the Jags are going to take Travis Hunter, right? Like, I don't think it's not how the Cowboys operate. It's not how they do things anymore. It'd be fun, but for a team that drafts for need, tough to give up all your picks to go get one player.